gossip, when someone else is gossiping or talking smack or negativity around you, and the courage to be aware of when you are doing that so that you can, shift to positive, or, how do you handle that? Because it still takes courage for yourself, because there's awareness and a willingness to do that. And then when you're with other people, I think it even takes a bit more courage, because you have that fear of, what are they going to think of me? Or, that whole idea when you're like contrary to what somebody's saying about somebody else. So that's what we were talking about before we went into our intention. So I thought we'd talk about that a little bit more before we start our celebrations for the next hour.
Ooh, that can go deep. Because it lends to, for me, something I've suffered from is when you do sit there and you might feel hostage as some people just kind of discuss or tell you all these things about someone else, as soon as you walk out that door, they do that about you too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've had it in the workplace where it's mixed for a lot of fear. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten more comfortable to steer the conversation.
Good.
Yes, it is easier when you're with friends, acquaintances, to just shift, right? Be like, well, check out that sunshine, or do you want another cup of coffee? Or just kind of, I do. And certainly it depends on the person I'm with, because some will know that it is as kind as I can be to say, yeah, I'm sure they're dealing with some stuff. We all have our baggage, and some of it's heavier for some. And it's one of those things, we don't know what's going on in someone's world, but to be respectful and treat them with kindness. Because it is easy, I think, on the heels of when someone's mistreated, or in their minds like, oh, that person was so rude. Well, again, you don't know what they might be dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way to deflect.
Yeah.
Both by changing the topic, just totally shifting the whole focus, or shifting the negativity to compassion or empathy, or saying something positive, like, well, that's not my experience. I find that person to be blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah. It's, and I do agree. Maturity helps us have courage in those situations, because we're more secure within ourselves, perhaps. And we're not as fearful of people thinking something about us, if we do that. Good thought.
Yeah, I've even had an experience recently where I had a friend that was talking about another one of our mutual friends, and then, she must have caught herself, like, realizing and knowing, that it was like she mentioned how that friend was talking to her about another friend. She was like, well, I guarantee that she talks the exact same way about me, like, after we're done talking. And I was like, interesting. And I'm just listening, and and my expression and the way that I responded to, and lack of response to her talking, and I was just like, and sometimes I literally purse my lips shut. I cue myself like, or I like cover my mouth, like, shh, like, don't say anything else, like, keep it in, But also I think that, we're talking a little bit more about this because of the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And one of the even further pieces for our own self is to push those negative thoughts out of our mind about other people, right? We're judging them in our minds about how they're talking, or, what they're doing and all of those things. But the idea is that we don't just keep it to ourselves and not say it, but the idea is to pluck them out of our mind and think positive, empowering, beautiful thoughts about the human beings that we surround ourselves with, because that grows, that expands. So when we're still thinking negative thoughts about someone else's way of living or whatever it still is planting negative seeds within us, and that we're putting that out in different ways. So yeah. It definitely takes courage to do all of it. you know?
Yeah. And what I like about that book is that it gives you just really practical examples. And so I was listening to it this morning when I was out on my cookie run. And, you know, also about surrounding yourself with a variety of kinds of people, not just, you know, but at the same time, being sure that those people are the kind of people you want to be. You know, so you're surrounding yourself with a variety of people, like say a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a social worker, whatever, just you know, a variety of occupations, as well as mindsets, as well as, you know, religions, whatever, so that you grow from that inside of you. And it's just I really like the book. It's just down to earth. I don't know when it was written. I'm sure it was written a while ago. And so it's probably more my generation of, you know, because language changes over time and the way they say things, the same thing said a different way, and it's going to not resonate with one person and resonate with another. But I really, really like that book. I'm so glad we're reading it. And I don't remember who brought it to the table, but
yeah, Brenda.
Brenda. Yeah, I really, really, really like it. And I'm only reading one book at a time now. It's this pile of books right here. I'm
takes
not
courage for you.
Right. I took the courage to put those right there. They'll be one of my next books, but I'm sticking to one book, one personal growth book. I still have 2 fictional books I'm reading.
There's a caveat.
Yeah, that's beside the point.